Hello!
Woohoo!
You might be fooled into believing that it's the middle of summer.
The coat tells you it's not.
The sun's out, blue skies, greenery, and Sean's got his coat on. It's the middle of November. It does feel actually better than some days we've had in the summer though, doesn't it?
It does, yes.
The summer we've had this year.
It's been shocking.
But you can tell that it's getting a bit chillier. Well, Sean feels it in his bone, don't you?
What?
The cold.
Just one?
Just that one bone.
Just
We're
one.
not going to tell you which one bone. But you can tell because the nights are drawing in, the nights are getting longer, the days are getting shorter.
Yes.
And the trees are getting a nice golden brown, and it's very misty on a morning. You get a bit misty, don't you, on a morning? Or when you're watching that man on Bake Off that you like. Or when somebody makes you a bacon sandwich. You get
Bacon sandwich?
Yeah. In fact, if that man off Bake Off makes you a bacon sandwich, you'd be more than a bit misty, wouldn't you? Anyway, last week we left you on a bit of a coat hanger, didn't we?
A coat hanger?
A bit of a coat hanger.
You mean a cliffhanger?
A bit of a cliffhanger. Because Sean's knees went.
Well, one of them did.
And although we did tell you at the end of the vlog last week what was up, what had happened, most of you had switched off by then.
Yes, he had, yes.
So we kind of left you on a bit of a coat hanger to see what had happened.
Yeah.
So if you're just watching this and you didn't watch till the end last time,
Why not?
I know the question that you'll be asking.
What's that?
Where did Colin have his hair done?
Why?
I like it when I've got shut. I like stroke the back of my head. I like that. That's calming, is that? I feel a bit like a guinea pig when you stroke the back of my head.
Guinea pig.
Anyway, he went to the hospital.
I did.
And the doctors had a good look at him. One of the nurses felt up his phalanges, didn't they? And that nice junior doctor gave him an enema. Nothing to do with his knee. I think he just wanted to learn how to do enemas,
No,
didn't he?
he didn't.
Did he not? No. All right, I must have dreamt that. So what's up with you? Some sort of minuscule summit, wasn't it? Meniscal tear. Doesn't matter how you pronounce it, it's still minuscule, isn't it?
It didn't feel minuscule. I've torn the cartilage in my knee.
Painful.
Yes, it was.
Which means he can't kneel down, which rules out a few pleasures, doesn't it? He's got to watch what he does with it. He tried moving a box with his dodgy knee the other day, and he nearly
That's what
screamed.
did it.
I had to pick him up off the floor, didn't I?
Yeah.
But the long and short of it is that he's basically got to rest it.
Yeah.
He's got a small man behind him holding him up. You can't see on the camera at the moment, can you? But he's got to rest his knee for a while, which means
Not like you lot think.
Which means I've got to do most of the things, which I'm sure you'll enjoy, and you're enjoying watching, aren't you?
I am.
And just in time for as we're trying to kind of get everything ready for the winter. So the bees, the chickens, Sherlock, the washing. I've got to get that washing in. It's been out since August, hasn't it?
Oh, Jesus.
I'll have to run towels through for a rinse again, won't I? Anyway, so today's vlog, we're going to show you how we're preparing everything for the winter, because it's the middle of summer by the looks of it. You wait while this weekend there'll be snow on tops, I'll tell you. We're going to show you what we're doing with the chickens and the bees and with Sherlock and other things around the croft and how we're going to get it ready for winter. You have to go and have a sit down, love.
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Autumn in the Highlands is nothing short of spectacular. On a day like today, that gorgeous blue sky reflects from the calm waters of the loch, and the trees are turning shades of yellow and gold. There's already snow on the tops of the mountains, and it's not going to be long until that colder weather reaches us further down here. So it's time to get a move on and start preparing the croft for those colder days. First thing we're going to do is make life a little bit more comfortable for the chickens over the winter. Now, we've had 8 inches of rain over the last 6 to 8 weeks, and it's really taken its toll on the chicken enclosure. It's got really muddy, and because the chickens like to be out and about picking in the soil, their feet get really muddy and it's not ideal for them. So we're going to take a few measures today to make the ground a little bit better for them, so if it does carry on raining, it's not going to hurt the feet. We're also going to make the shelter just a little bit more secure to keep them warm and protected from that freezing wind that's going to be starting any time now. We've got to try and keep the hens' feet as clean as we can, otherwise they could pick up infections. So while it's been really wet and muddy, the girls have been getting regular foot treatments, a bit of a pedicure to keep them all dry, clean and healthy. The worst of the mud is inside the chicken run, so today I'm going to cover it over with about a ton of sand, and then I'll spread another ton in a couple of weeks. It's not going to completely stop the mud, but it is going to help break up that sticky texture and stop the feet from getting caked up with sludge. Thousands and thousands of years ago, probably around the Ice Age time, where I am now was underwater, and this was part of the sea. We don't live far from the sea. As the crow flies, it's probably about half a mile. Where we live is literally built on sand and rock, which is good if we need sand, which we do today for the chickens. So I can just dig into the banking, which is basically an old sand dune, and I can dig loads of sand out there, which is a lot cheaper than buying it for what, £3, £4, £5 a bag? If you're panicking about me taking sand from the bank here, don't worry. This bit was moved last year when we dug out the driveway, so it's not affecting any root systems or any plants or trees or anything. I took about a dozen barrows full of sand down to the run and spread it out using my shovel and a rake, levelling it deep enough to start soaking up that water and making it all a bit less sludgy. Gooey might be good if you're eating a chocolate pudding, but it's not for our girls when they have to trudge through it every day. Well, I've done the best I can. There's a couple of inches of sand now, and the girls are picking away at it, seeing if they can find any little bugs and grubs in there. Do you want to go and have a look? Go on then. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not all mud everywhere. They've got lots of fresh grass and plants outside the run that they can go and pick at. But they have to come in and out of here to get to the nesting boxes and the coop and the food and the water. So the less mud they have to trudge through to get to that, the better. And if you look at the video I took just before I put the sand down, and you can see all the mud on the feet, and then look at it now, it's already better. Don't get me wrong, I know they're going to probably pick all this and dig it up within the next week or two. But if we have a dry few days like this, and the sand, it just makes it that little bit better for them, I think. This is the straw store. We get the straw delivered from a local farmer. He brings it towards the end of summer, and we get enough to last us well into next year. More than enough to keep the hens warm and dry throughout the winter. Next job is to put the tarpaulin back on for the winter. Now this is always a dodgy one because it gets so windy here sometimes. I mean, it was like 70, 80 miles an hour just a couple of weeks ago. So we have to be careful because the wind could literally get underneath it and lift the whole enclosure up, and we could find it a mile down the road. It happened to a neighbour. I say neighbour, about a mile that way. So what we do is we put the tarpaulin on the coop side of the outside run, which just gives them that extra protection from the elements, especially the rain and the snow. So it keeps where they eat and where the water is a little bit more dry and gives them more protection from that cold wind. What we do is we fasten it on all the way around with cable ties. It's got extra strong steel rings in the tarpaulin. And then what we do to bolster it is we also put these pieces of wood all around the side, and that stops the wind from getting underneath it and lifting the tarpaulin off. Now, it does come through the other side, the wind, so you might think that it gets underneath from the other side and lifts it, but it's open at each side at the bottom, so the wind still gets through. Touch wood, the last 2 winters it's been fine, even in 80, 90 mile an hour winds, so it should be good. Should be okay, and it does offer them a lot of protection from the rain and the wind. During the summer, the girls will lay about 18 to 20 eggs a day. We've got 20 hens, so it's nearly 1 each. But as the nights start drawing in and the days are getting shorter, they lay less and less. We're getting about 6 to 8 at the moment. That'll drop down even further. And the reason is that the hens need light. They need 12 to 16 hours of daylight for the reproductive system to keep working. Once it gets darker, they start laying less. And it's in the pineal gland, that's what gets the reproductive system working. Now we can get around that if we put a 9-watt fluorescent light in the coop in here. Then, do you want to go down there? Go on then. then they will lay more over the winter. I don't know whether we're going to do that because it feels a bit fake. I don't know. Prefer to just let nature take its course, and if they slow down, they slow down. It feels a little bit weird because I spent most of my time, especially in the spring and summer and during the early autumn, up here at the apiary tending to the new colonies of bees. And then all of a sudden, within a few weeks, I'm only coming up once or twice a month just to check on them, not really going into the hives anymore because it's too cold. So how do the bees prepare for winter? Well, luckily for me, they do most of the work themselves. A few people asked why we didn't get a lot of honey this year, and that's because one of the preparations they make is to build up their own stores of honey to get them through the winter, and I only take anything that's extra to that. Now, luckily for me, they had a bit of a bumper crop with all that heather honey, so most of the hives are actually full of stores, I think more than enough to get them through. The other thing they do is they kick out most of the male bees, the drones, because they don't need them. They just take up space and eat food that the workers and the queen will need. So that reduces the numbers a little bit. Apart from that, they just huddle together and keep warm for the winter, move around the hive and eat the honey that they've been storing. There's a few things I can do to help them get through. You might notice on the hive behind me, and all the hives on this apiary now, are sitting on stands which raise them about 10 inches off the ground. There's a couple of reasons they come in handy. When we get snow, which we do up here in Highland Scotland, obviously, it means that the entrance stays clear for longer. Obviously, if it snows too much, I can come and shovel some out of the way, but it's quite rare for it to get more than a foot up to where the entrance is. But it might drift, we don't know. So it keeps the entrance clear. It also allows any rubbish and debris and poo and things like that from underneath the hive to drop through, because under the hive it's just mesh and that drops through, and it saves things like wax moths and mice going in looking for all that rubbish to eat. In a couple of weeks, I'll be putting some mouse guards on the entrances. It just narrows that little strip where they can come in and out a little bit more, and it stops little mice going in and eating the comb and the honey as they get hungry over the winter. Another thing I'll be doing, which is what I'm going to do now, is taking out the apivar strips. Now these are strips that are in the hives, and it kills some of the varroa mites, which are a big problem for beekeepers. They're little tiny red mites, and they attach themselves to the bees and suck the blood, and they even go into the larvae, and it just causes all sorts of problems. So I treat my bees once or twice a year. They're just coming towards the end of the autumn treatment, and they've had a couple of strips in each hive for the last 6 or 7 weeks. So I'm just about to go in and start taking those out. These ratchet straps are ideal for just securing the hives down, not just in the really windy weather, but it stops the badgers from moving them or the deer from knocking them off when they're scratching their behinds on the side of the hive. So it just keeps them really secure and stops them being pushed or blown about. So what I don't want to do is have the hive open too long, because the cold isn't good for the bees. So all I'm going to do is go in and grab the apivar strips. There's one. There's the other one. And then I'm going to close this straight back up so that we can get out of here and leave the bees to it.
Are we done? I'm off.
My knee hurts now. Can I have 3 months off? As for Sherlock, well, the reason we didn't mention him is because we've kind of built in what we need to do for Sherlock already.
Yeah.
So he's already got his inside area. I swear that doctor put that thing on you, wasn't it? I just need to put this on your inside area. Sherlock's got his inside area. Now, they can withstand temperatures down to about freezing Celsius, which is about 32 Fahrenheit. But if it gets really cold or really windy, we can actually close a hatch, which closes him in, and we can put a little bit of heat in there. Not too much, just enough to keep it above freezing. Warmer than us if our gas runs out. So if you had to be like Sherlock or one of the bees or one of the chickens over the winter, which one would you be?
Sherlock.
Now, I expected you to say one of the chickens. I was expecting a crack about a cock or something. I'd like to be Sherlock. But I don't want to eat what he eats, though. I'd rather have a nice fried breakfast served to me every morning. I don't think I could manage to swallow a 6-inch mouse whole when I get up. Do you? The mice are about 6 inches long, the medium-large mice, about 26 grams. Why is that funny?
Come on. For the 6-inch.
They are 6 inches,
Okay.
yeah. Now, next week, you calm down, love.
I've calmed down.
Now, next week, it will be our 2nd anniversary of living in the Highlands. 2 years and we haven't even picked up the accent yet.
No, we haven't. I'm not even trying.
There's 2 things I'd like Lewis to do to me, and one of them is to teach me how to speak in Scotland. But yeah, 2 years. So we're going to do a vlog all about, like, has it been worth it, 2 years in Scotland? Is it better than the boat?
Oh, God, yes.
Do we like it more than... Are we going to go back on a boat?
No, we're not.
So if you've got any questions that you'd like us to answer, except are you going to live on a boat or are you going back to the canals?
Yeah, because we've answered that a million times.
I think a few more than a million. But if you've got any other questions about life in the Highlands or boating or anything like that, drop them in the comments. And then once we've filtered out all the crap during the week, we'll pick some good ones out.
We won't have a vlog.
And we'll answer them in next week's vlog. You're dead cheeky, you. But that's it for this week. Hope you've enjoyed it. We've had a bit of a laugh, haven't we?
Yes.
I've hurt my knees doing all that wheelbarrowing.
You've done nothing of the sort.
Stuff like that. If you're not already, please subscribe to the channel. Give us a thumbs up. And if you hit the notification bell, there you go. YouTube will let you know every time we release a brand new video. If you'd like to support the channel, there's quite a few ways you can do it.
Yes, you can.
You can support the content by joining us as a YouTube member, VIP, or on Patreon. There's a link up above Sean's head on some devices. And you'll get exclusive content and bits and pieces of gossip about what's going on around the croft.
More rubbish.
You could also adopt a beehive. Now, you could share adopting a beehive with a couple of other people, and that's a bit cheaper. Or you can get one all to yourself. Or dedicate it to somebody for Christmas, or if you've got a business, you could have your business name on there. Details are on our website at foxesafloat.com/shop.
Shop.
Are we off? I'm going to have to carry you back home now, aren't I? It's a good job it's only up these steps.
It's maybe, what, 4 miles to get here?
4 miles, it's up them steps there. We'll see you next time. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.
Ta-ra.